Scuba goes under the sea. The podcast for the inquisitive diver.
Hey there, dive buddies, and welcome to the season finale. Over the past 10 months, we've taken the plunge 18 times, and it's time for a short surface interval. I have a couple of Petes joining me in the studio today. The first is an old fella that's been on the show before, takes a bloody good underwater photo, and conveniently forgets every time it's his turn to buy the beers. We'll get to him in a moment. The newbie, diving right in, is arguably Sea Shepherd's #1 fan, has a raucous laugh to challenge any of us in the studio, and is one of my good dive buddies right here in Sydney. But I don't even know her surname. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Hi, Don.
G'day.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to know my surname?
Yeah.
Lissa Rebec.
Oh, it is Rebec?
Yeah.
I thought it was abbreviated or shortened so that you had some kind of, difficulty trying to find you on social media and stuff like that.
Well, I'm Lisa Marie, so I just use that, so no one really knows my surname.
Yeah. Oh, I found the Rebec somewhere. It was on one of the social things. But I thought it was like it was shortened from Rebecca or something like that.
Could be, yeah. I do sometimes get emails, dear Rebecca.
Brilliant. Well, seeing as you're the newbie on the show today, why don't you give us a little bit of a background on who you are and what you're doing here?
Okay, so I love the ocean. I love scuba diving, and that's how we met, through our connection with scuba diving. I happen to be a very big supporter of Sea Shepherd, and quite recently I have been made a coordinator of the Sydney South chapter. So there was the Sydney chapter, but that's been divided into two because it's such a huge area to cover. So I've now been split and been given my own chapter so we can concentrate with raising funds down in the south of Sydney.
So being a chapter, does that mean that you have to wear a leather waistcoat and ride a motorbike?
Maybe in the future. No, but definitely have the wardrobe. I think I own every Sea Shepherd merchandise known to man. So, yeah. Excellent.
Well, congratulations on getting your own chapter.
Thank you. So we're in the works of setting that up. So I've been doubly busy this week trying to do that. So exciting things happening. We're recovering from after COVID. So there's been quite a few events that have been cancelled as a result of COVID. So we're hopefully getting more of a presence in Sydney.
Yeah.
And
so I would, because I'm relatively new to the Sea Shepherd kind of thing in Australia, but I would have thought that Sydney would have had quite a strong presence because I've always seen on your social media like the markets and stuff like that. But it needs bolstering, eh?
It does, because Sydney is such a huge area to cover. There is, and as you know, Sydney traffic is crazy. So you need different areas of concentration. So Sydney's actually cut up of Central Coast where they have lots of events there. And then we've got the Sydney area, and I'll cover the south. So down to Cronulla, Wollongong, all the way down to Jarvis. We've got a couple of volunteers down there. So
okay.
And how did that happen? How did you get the gig? Did they come to you?
Well, that's an interesting story. I've been involved with Sea Shepherd for a couple of years now, and I have pretty much gone to them and said I'd like to do a market here, and I've just been slowly but surely creeping my way in, doing markets here and there, and then I eventually got to have merchandise at my house so that I can do my own markets. And then they've just said, well, hey, you're doing it already. Do you kind of want your own sub-chapter and concentrate on that area? And Sydney will concentrate on their area, and Central Coast will concentrate on them, and, build it.
Have you met the man, Paul Watson, yet?
That's the dream.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
It's quite a character, isn't he?
He certainly is very, very passionate. Have you seen Watson, the film?
No, I haven't, no.
It's a great film. So it speaks about how he was the co-founder of Greenpeace. So then he broke away and he started Sea Shepherd.
Right.
Yeah, and the rest is history. So I implore you to watch it. It's amazing.
I mean, is it on Netflix, or where can you see it?
You can stream it, I believe, on Amazon. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. I think there's a few.
Amazon. There's a few streaming, but unfortunately it's not on Netflix.
Okay, I'll find it.
Yeah.
There was a couple on YouTube I saw the other day.
Yeah, there's quite a few on YouTube. So there would be Chasing Thunder on YouTube, which is one of the Sea Shepherd campaigns. They were chasing.
It's quite amazing what they do, isn't it, really? So committed.
Absolutely. So my role is fundraising. So
she does it quite well, mate. To give you a bit of a backstory.
She got some money out of you. She must be.
Oh, yeah. Got it straight away, mate.
it's my gift.
We kind of got put in touch with each other from a mutual mate from when I was doing some runs down to Mogo and Cobargo last year when the bushfires were on, and the mutual mate said, "Oh, you should meet this chick. She's a diver as well. So you've got to know each other." Of course, I've got to know every diver in the world. Right, we're divers. Right. So we ended up all getting together and going for the first dive, and the very first. Well, within 5 minutes of rocking up, she pulls up in her ute, pulls down the back tail end and says, "Oh, I've got some T-shirts and some hoodies and I've got a 5XL that I've never been able to get rid of. Do you want it?"
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Well, this was during COVID, so that's how we stayed afloat and ended up raising money. It was just through our online merchandise, and Sea Shepherd are very passionate, so they speak for themselves, and we have such great supporters. So, absolutely.
And Lisa's other half, Rod, he gets Christmas and birthdays. It's all Sea Shepherd stuff. He's sponsored by Sea Shepherd when he goes diving.
all the sizes don't fit him as well. It's really coincidence, isn't it? Yeah.
And there are so many shirts that he's yet to get.
Oh, I bet he's over the moon with that.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just moving away from Lisa for a second, for those people that haven't listened to. I can't even remember the episode number now. I think it was 15 or 16. Yeah. Don was on then. But since then, Don's moved up into the realms of being the gods of scuba diving.
Oh, I wish.
What's the new news, dude?
Well, I've been appointed as senior travel editor for Scuba Diver magazine. The all three editions, the ANZ one, the UK, and the US one, which is a great step forward for me. I'm quite passionate about writing about the things I do and the things I've seen and what it all means. And this is just a great, it's kind of a win-win opportunity. They were looking for somebody to contribute on a broad scale, shall we say, which kind of aligned with all the stuff I've been doing and all the stuff I hope to do going forward. So I've got the front cover of the UK edition with an article on the oceanic whitetips of Cat Island, and the next two issues will have the hammerheads of Bimini, and then Tiger Beach will be the third one. Yeah, and then I've been doing all the stuff with the Australia New Zealand one. I've had numerous articles in there and about 4 or 5 front covers, which have been great. You know, it's front covers are the big prize. You know, you kind of. You know, you can show your mum. She'd be so proud.
Oh, well.
if only she could see me now, you know.
Yeah.
But, no, it's for a photographer, it's a big thing to get a front cover. And, so I'm really happy about it. They play win-win. And we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see where it takes us. As the travel editor, I'm sure you're going to go places. And, I'm very good at carrying bags. Scuba tanks.
Well, actually, can you take a ticket because there's a queue?
Do you need any Sea Shepherd T-shirts?
Thought you'd never ask.
See, told you she was good.
Yeah. I see it now.
We were actually Sea Shepherd have a campaign called the Apex campaign. Have you heard of it?
No.
So,
whoa. That means that you've not listened to this podcast other than your.
You mean there's other ones? I had no idea. I've been listening to my same one day after day. I had no idea there was something else out there. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, shame on you. You're not coming on again.
It's only been 2 weeks. I've listened to it every day.
Guess what you're doing tomorrow?
Yeah, clearly.
Sorry, carry on, Lisa.
So,
Sorry.
just in a nutshell, because I won't go on a big spiel, but the Apex campaign is targeting non-lethal methods for shark control. So, getting rid of shark nets and drum lines, which cause a lot of harm and deaths to marine animals as well as sharks. So, the Apex campaigns for non-lethal methods for people to be safe in the ocean, but also to not harm sharks and predominantly other marine species that seem to be caught up in these drum lines and shark nets, which is not.
It's horrendous the damage that's been done by all this. The longliners and just the whole thing of the way that sharks have been the indirect victims, but on a huge scale, a massive scale. So that, for me, was the big thing of going to the Bahamas, was there were sharks. Everywhere else you go, you're lucky if you see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, it's you're lucky if you see them.
Yeah.
But when you get to the Bahamas, because of everything they've done there, it's not a perfect thing, but it's it's the best I've personally seen in terms of the sharks there.
Yeah, and the income for the local community must be huge.
The economic benefits of a live shark versus a dead shark are significant, very significant. And the thing is, when you remove, the sharks are there, as Jim Abernathy said to me once. Jim Abernathy is one of the pioneers of Tiger Beach. He said that, the role of the shark is to clear up the dead, the dumb and the dying. Yeah. Which sounds like a great soundbite, but they've got a real role to play, because if they're not there, everything gets out of kilter. It's a fine balance.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's an absolutely fine balance, and they have a role to play. Yeah. And you take them out, 90% are said to have gone, then everything gets thrown out of balance. The marvellous thing is, what you see in the Bahamas is how they can come back strongly when we get out of the way. When we stop doing all these things that you were referring to, they have a tremendous capacity to rebuild. So there is hope out there. But we have to stop doing these things.
Yeah, we have to get the crap out of the water. I mean, the podcast that you didn't listen to
yet
was Lisa's compadre up in Queensland, Jono, and he's the coordinator for the Apex campaign. And he goes into detail about the long lines, the drum lines, and the nets. And it doesn't take a genius to work out that if you put a bloody big fish head on a honking great hook, you're going to get something big. And if you leave a net dangling in the water, you're going to get something big eventually. And unfortunately, it's not just sharks, like Lisa said. Yeah. There's been loggerhead turtles.
All the bycatch is
everything.
It's horrendous. And the thing is, it's unseen. We don't see it.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Apex campaign is trying to do. Because Jono will go out on the rib with a team, and if they find something in the nets or on the hooks, they'll go down with the cameras and they'll record it and get pretty crappy evidence. Not crappy as in poor quality, but
in your face.
Not what we like to see.
Exactly.
But it's actually what we do need to see.
It's absolutely what we need to see, because we're the lucky ones. We get to go underwater. Everybody else doesn't, and just doesn't know.
Could you try again?
Whoa!
Siri got involved.
That's Don buying the beers on the next one.
Yeah. So where was I? We get to see this stuff.
Yeah.
If we're lucky as divers. The vast percentage of the population have no idea. But it's serious stuff. It really does matter.
Yeah.
What does the Bahamas do so well?
Well, they were one of the first countries to set up marine protected areas, MPAs, right? So, and then they have over, I think, 1 million square miles of area, because the Bahamas is a lot. There's islands, but there's a lot of sea. But they were one of the first nations to set it up, which, given the benefit of hindsight, was a phenomenal, far-sighted decision. And then I think they were the fourth nation to create a shark sanctuary. So there's no take of any sharks. And the population has rebounded. The first time I went there was to Tiger Beach, which is in Grand Bahama in the north. And I just couldn't believe it when we pulled up that there was all these sharks around the back of the boat. You don't see that anywhere. else. I've never seen it anywhere. And it's quite intimidating your first time getting in. You're thinking, oh, my God, all these shark fins, it must be dangerous. And then you get in, and there's sharks everywhere. They're there in that area because it's a known aggregation point. And also, some of the boats feed.
Yeah.
So they turn up snacking, right? And then it's the place to see tiger sharks. That's why you go. That's hence the name, Tiger Beach. But they're there because there's plenty of food, and it's a safe zone for them. And the number, the magnitude, the number, the size is mind-boggling, really, if you're used to diving everywhere else, where you typically don't see a lot of sharks. You might see one or two sharks, but you won't see a lot. Whereas they're everywhere.
Getting a free feed.
And no nets on the beaches.
No.
Great.
Well, that's it. They're not needed because, nets. And
It's not allowed. It's a shark sanctuary. There's nothing there.
Yeah. And the drum lines. What did astound me when Jono was going on about the drum lines is how close they are to the surfers. And they put they put bait on a hook to entice a shark to chomp on the hook when it's, a stone's throw from the surfers that they're trying to protect. It's just false.
Yeah.
They're actually luring in stuff that is going to cause a problem for us. Someone's going to get snagged. I do have to actually, there's two bits of info I want to shout out about. One is continuing on from Apex Harmony, because that gets a shout out on a documentary that's coming up in July. I think it's been premiered.
Is that Envoy Shark Carl?
That's the one.
21st of July there, Matt.
There you go. Boom, straight on it. But that's, I've been chatting to the director, Andre Borrell, and I'm pretty stoked he's going to come on the show as and when it launches.
Excellent.
But it's got Eric Banner on there that's narrating it all, and it's focused on Apex Harmony and the impact of what Australia's doing with the sharks around its coastline, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be in cinemas all around Australia.
And the world, hopefully.
Hopefully it can get as much momentum as Seaspiracy, because we have seen a lot of interest in the ocean since Seaspiracy's come out, which is a positive. Because a change needs to happen.
It's probably going to be really good timing, actually. Was it 6, 7, 8 months on from Seaspiracy when it launches?
Yeah, absolutely.
Will it still have momentum?
And you can get your Sea Shepherd merchandise at cinemas.
As it happens.
Yeah, beauty.
Just had to throw that in there.
And the second bit of info I want to share with you is we've got to give a huge shout out to Robin Gallagher. Do you know who that is?
No.
I haven't a clue.
No clue.
No, because
Google
there's not a lot known about this person. But this person is actually an ambassador for a charity called Shark Guardian. And they petitioned UK government because it was found out that you could legally import 20 kilos of shark fin in your luggage as a traveller into the UK.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
20 kilos. And it was legal. So the petition said, this is dog shit, it should stop, in a nutshell. And Shark Guardian jumped on board and ran with it. And Brendan and Liz have been relentless in hounding down, sponsorship signatures. And we had to get 100,000 plus signatures, and it was a success, which then saw it get mentioned in Parliament in the UK. And subsequently, we've now got the information, and Brendan was chatting with me this morning, that they're now going to ban all import and export, because they were exporting shark fin, from the UK.
Yay.
So it's a huge success, and it's all down to this one person, Robin Gallagher.
Thank you, Robin Gallagher.
Yeah.
Fantastic. These things are so important, raising the awareness of the general public about what's happening. The best example I can think of is Yao Ming. Do you know who he is?
Nope. Oh, yes, I do, actually. Yeah.
They used to play for I think it was the Houston Astros. He's 7'5".
Yes.
Yeah, can't miss him.
Yeah. Lycord, I could walk underneath him. So he returned to China, and he's a megastar there because of his success he had in the US basketball. And Wild Aid managed to convince him to be the spokesperson locally to stop eating shark fin soup. And he's been phenomenally successful. So to the point where it seems to be having an overall impact on the decline in demand for shark fin, because it's to the point where sort of the younger generation, shall we say, he's iconic to them.
Yeah.
So when he says don't do it, and some of the imagery they use and they explain it, it's really well done. And it's it's to the point where it's frowned upon now with the younger generation there in China, whereas before it would have been seen as something you needed to do to show that you've got some money.
Yeah.
You can afford this stuff. That's the way it works there. And he's done a phenomenal job. It's just amazing what can be done if you change that public perception.
I'd like to see more on that. Actually, I've not seen many reports on it, but I did see I think it was a while ago now, probably a year ago.
I just looked it up today. I was writing something, as you do, when you're a senior travel editor.
Yeah. Just drop that one in there.
As you do,
just mention that to you. Mention that to your bag carrier again.
I couldn't, did I mention that about senior? No. Anyway, so I was just fact checking actually to see if it was still there, and I went to Wild Aid and Yao Ming, and it's still there. It shows it explains it really well on their site. I just think it's a great example of taking a high profile individual who commits to doing something for you and changes that public perception and drive. At the end of the day, unless you drive down that demand, they'll always, the bad people will always find a way to make money out of it.
Yeah.
Right? But if the demand declines, then they'll move on to something else.
Yeah.
Didn't he also advocate for not eating whale meat as well? So I think that's declined as well.
I don't think eating whale is a big thing in China, isn't it?
In Japan, yeah,
huge,
Japan, and I think people don't know, but Norway also do whaling as well. But everyone always points the finger at Japan.
Yeah,
so I think there has been like the younger generation turning against eating whale as well, which is it's just it's not popular, which is good. Good for win for the whales.
How's that coffee?
It's tea.
Is it tea?
It's tea, yeah.
Is it like a hippie tea or something? Or is it
no, it's just black tea. It's doing its job.
How's your goat beer there, Rod?
I'm going good.
Rod?
Do we need to get... Yeah, Rob?
Where is Rod? We need a refill.
Oh, we've got a Rob.
Oh, we got a Rob, yeah. Yeah, we've got Lisa's other half quietly sitting in the background. So, yeah, he can be refill man.
Did we tell you what happened on Saturday night?
Are you going to get a little bit, naughty? Okay, is this okay for airing?
It is. Actually, you be the judge of that. So I think we were planning on going diving on Sunday, but that had to be benched because we went ice skating on Saturday night, and I thought I was doing really amazing until I had a bit of a slide and I fell on my coccyx, my tailbone.
Did you laugh, Rob?
I think on the inside. That really freaking hurts.
To be honest, you probably didn't miss much because you were going to go Shelley Beach, weren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think you're going to miss much.
No, apparently the conditions have been rubbish, like in Sydney. Yeah, even just, it looked really rough at Cronulla.
Well, someone's been posting, satellite imagery, when we had all the rain, you could see all the rubbish coming out of the estuaries. And I was up in Hawkesbury yesterday, and I stopped by. There's a beautiful little spot, bridge going over it. Stop and have a stretch of the legs. And I was there 6 weeks ago. And in between then and now, I think the water level's probably raised up by about 4 to 5 metres.
Really?
So many trees that have been washed, so that they're falling over. And it's honking through. The water is thick chocolate brown and it's just honking through.
Meanwhile, I was talking to a friend from Byron today. 15 to 20 metres viz.
Which friend was this?
This was Andrew.
Do I know Andrew?
He's one of the locals that dives weekly.
Okay.
Through
is it one of the...
Sundive Dive Centre, which is our favourite dive partners.
Was that, Andrea, he's an old boy.
Yeah.
I think I dived with him a few months ago.
He's part of Apex.
Okay.
So, I was talking to him today and he said dive conditions were amazing and, no one likes a bragger.
No.
The impact of all that floodwater, I saw it firsthand the week before last. I spent a couple of days at Nelson Bay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so there's some great... one of my favourite sites there is Fly Point, which is, it's a protected area, and it's just phenomenal what's there. When you... I'd heard about it years ago, and since I've been back in Australia, I've been up there a few times, and I was just blown away the first time I got in. The diversity, the colour, all the sponges, and it's just fantastic. But because of all the fresh water, down to about 7 metres, there's nothing. It's just all gone.
Yeah.
Completely gone. All the kelp and just nothing.
What, like literally wiped out?
Wiped out. Because of just all the fresh water has gone through and killed everything.
Wow.
So it's a natural thing. It's not. It's not the first flood, is it? So it will come back. But the impact of this, what you're saying about the water coming down the Hawkesbury, anything that's, it's a seawater environment won't last long in freshwater.
Yeah. Bloody hell. See, I've been meaning to do Fly Point so many times.
Where is that?
It's
Nelson Bay.
Just north of just the north side of Nelson Bay.
Yeah.
Because have you done the Looking Glass?
Out at Broughton Island. No, I've done Broughton Island, but when I've been out there, it'd be hard to get on it. It's you need the right conditions, and it's never been right. So I tend to, when I go up there, I just concentrate on Fly Point because it's so good. It's still good below 7 metres. Obviously that top layer was where all the fresh water came out, and it's killed everything. But it'll come back. It'll grow back. But down below 7 metres, it's still very vibrant. But a lot of the critters have gone. There was all sorts of stuff there before.
Yeah.
But clearly that's had an impact. But it will come back.
Yeah.
It's a natural cycle.
So, in fact, I saw some of your social media this week. How much did your arse twitch when you saw that eel? The estuary eel or whatever.
That was at Fly Point,
I literally saw my first one like 4 weeks ago.
Well, so did I. That was it.
I had to take a double take of it. I was like, what the hell is that thing?
Well, it was. The funny thing was, I was looking at something else, and you get that feeling that somebody's looking at you. And I turned around and it was like, what the? So this is I can't remember the scientific name, but it's an estuary eel, which is like a cross between a moray and a catfish. It's got the face of a catfish and the body of a moray eel, and it's yellow in colour.
It looks like it's been eating too much kelp over its life, doesn't it?
I don't know, but it was behind me. Apparently, you've got to be careful because they've got poisonous spines on the back. But I just didn't know what the hell it was. I'd never seen anything like it before.
Yeah.
And I spent the whole dive with it. I'd go off and it'd disappear and it'd come back out again. And that image you're talking about was it took a shine to itself in the dome port of my... So I put the camera down. I could see it was interested.
Yeah.
So I thought I'll put the dome, just put it down, and it just came forward and came forward. In the end, it was just right on the dome, looking at itself. Couldn't quite work out, who's that good-looking fellow there, Yeah, interesting.
I mean, my missus was closer to the one that we saw, with buddying along. I'm on her left side, and I pointed it out. I was like, okay, indicate, get some film of it, and her eyes just said the one thing. Sod off. She wasn't going anywhere near it.
You go.
Are they known to be aggressive?
Apparently not. Apparently they have some poisonous mechanism. I believe it's spines on the like a bit of a dorsal film that runs down their back, which are, as I said, poisonous. But they spend, from the various comments that were on my post, indicate that they spend most of the time hidden under ledges and what have you. So you would... No, the short answer is no, they're not aggressive unless you annoyed them, I guess. But this one was out roaming around. And...
there you go, Lisa. That's the photo. Aww. Exactly.
Yeah, look at that.
If you were going to dress up at Halloween, it would be that, wouldn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Have you been to the Maldives? Has any of you been to the Maldives?
Oh, years ago, yeah.
Did you ever do that dive off the back of the tuna factory?
No.
There's this dive that they do off the back of the tuna factory, and it's just within, I want to say about 8 metres of water. So from 5 to 8 metres of water, and then they're just these massive fat moray eels because they just hide in their little caves and they just wait for the bits of tuna heads to come in and they just feed, and they're massive. And then you've got rays coming through, and it's just, you just have to just sit there and film.
Yeah,
It's just
it's a free feed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing, but I couldn't get over the size of these massive big eels.
Have you heard of the... I'll try and match that and raise you. It's a place in Ambon called the Twilight Zone. Have you ever heard of that one?
No.
I've heard of it, yeah.
So it's the in Ambon. There's a huge natural harbour there, and on the, I think it's on the west side, is the Perdamina jetty for the aircraft fuel that comes into the nearby airport.
That's right, yeah.
And there's a large kind of fishing fleet who moors up there. That moors up there, and they go out at night and catch everything, bring it back in, and then they fillet it all and throw all the stuff over the side while they're moored up. And then, so you've got all this stuff coming down, and then it's terrible as such in Ambon because they throw everything into the sea. You know, if you're coming up from the Banda Sea, you know you're getting close. You see all the plastic bags. What they do is they used to. I don't know if it's changed, but the rubbish would be in a plastic bag and they throw it on the beach and it'd be gone in the morning.
Yeah,
It's all drifting out. So you knew you were getting close to Ambon because the number of plastic bags would increase in the water in places you were diving.
yeah.
So they have this terrible habit of throwing everything in the water. But the Twilight Zone is this mixture of all this stuff, this tyres and all sorts of stuff thrown off the jetty. And then every day there's this organic stuff that rains down, all the fish guts and all, So you get these huge morays and everything else that lives in this. And once you're there, you know how it got its name, the Twilight Zone, because it is. It's really weird. You've got these fishing boats and you've got the sunlight coming down, and then every so often, there'd be all this stuff coming over the side. All the morays would come out, just like you said. They're really fat and quite aggressive.
Well, I was on. In fact, when were you last in Ambon?
6 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's a lot cleaner than what it was back then. I was there October 2019.
Oh, really? And it's cleaner?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Well, I was based out of Spice Island Divers.
Oh, yeah.
Big shout out for Ronnie there. But the dive sites that we did, was it 4 days we were there? And we dived 4 or 5 dives a day. And there was very little rubbish. So I think everyone's clubbing together to actually
that's very
make
positive.
much more of an effort. And it's certainly a lot better than what it was.
Yeah, it was horrendous. When I first went there in about 2008, coming up from the Banda Sea, and as I say, you just knew you were getting closer. At first, I didn't know what all this stuff was, and I realised all plastic bags and rubbish, but where's it coming from? And when we got into Ambon, I asked about it. People said, "Well, that's how people get rid of rubbish here.
Yeah.
You just put the plastic bag on the beach at night, in the morning it's gone. What's the problem?"
Come on, Amy, mate.
Refills.
Beer delivery. Cheers, Rob.
So I have a question. Where do we think diving's going to go next year once all the indications are that things should get better and we should be able to start travelling again. But what's your opinions?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, well, I think they're really going to push the fact we're going to have a vaccine. I think that's, yeah. And it could either go both ways. It could be really expensive or it could be really cheap.
I think there's so many avenues it could go down, and I'm hoping it doesn't go down the detrimental ones for the operators. There's so many dive operators that out there now that are really struggling and
Really
suffering.
struggling. Yeah.
Putting, food on the table for their families and their employees' families and trying to maintain everything. So difficult. And I'm just hoping that when people do get the availability to go to different locations, that they don't expect super cheap diving and accommodation and all that kind of stuff.
No.
If anything, we've all been sat in lockdown. The people should be, or the customers that want to go diving, should have saved their monies up so that they can pay more.
I couldn't agree more. It's kind of incumbent upon us, if you are into dive travel, to get out there and support these people who, those that make it through, those operators. I mean, there's no plan B, is there? If you're under a dive operation, everything revolves around people turning up. That's it.
Yeah.
You can't pivot to much else, can you? Really, you might be lucky to be able to do something to keep some food on the table, but it's not sustainable in the longer term, even the medium term. And we're getting into the medium term now. So those that make it through, it's incumbent upon us to get out there and support them, and don't be nickeling and diming them. We need to help them, just like we've done with the Australian operators.
Absolutely.
The Australian operators seem to be doing okay.
Yeah.
Popular spots are booked out months in advance now here in Australia, which is a good thing. But it's the operators around Asia, Southeast Asia, that are really doing it tough. And once we can travel, we should travel.
Yeah. I 100% agree.
Oh, I miss those dive trips where you just have to pretty much just put on your gear.
Yeah. Just drop into the water.
Those amazing boat staff that just put your gear together and change your tanks and help you out of the... Oh, I miss those times.
They'll come back.
I know.
It'll come back strong. There's a huge pent-up demand. People are just so over. We've adjusted to it and we're making the most of it. But there's this huge pent-up demand to go and do something.
Yeah.
So as soon as we can, we should.
I'm over
Great.
getting in a 5mm wetsuit, and it's a bloody big 5mm wetsuit at my size, freezing me nuts off for an hour in 2 or 3 meters viz. I want to be in 30-meter water with my board shorts on.
Yeah.
I've got kind of used to it now. I've adjusted. I'm going down to South Australia next week, next Tuesday.
Oh, you're going watching your sex show, aren't you?
That's next month. I'm going back again next month.
Oh, Whyalla?
Let me qualify this in case my wife is listening. The sex show is the great Australian cuttlefish aggregation in Whyalla. So it starts. It's just getting going now, and I'm spending a couple of days there. I'm going on Rodney Fox, Great White Sharks, and then a friend of mine and we're going to do a couple of days at Tumby Bay, and then for the Leafies, and then drive up to Whyalla, have a couple of days right at the start of the season, because it's different dynamics at the beginning. And then I'm going back next month for a week in Whyalla for me, it's the best. It's it is all about the sex, but it's interesting dynamics on there. It's very interesting dynamics, and as I said last week, on the last podcast, it reminds me of this disco I used to go a long time ago.
Yeah.
Back in Runcorn.
Yeah.
So that's cold water, because it doesn't get going till the water's down to, I think it's about 17 degrees.
Yeah.
So, you're freezing you really are freezing your nuts off down there. But it's good. It's fantastic. There's some great diving here in Australia. You don't have to go up north. There's some great stuff down south.
Well, I think, seeing as we're talking about travel and getting away, I think, domestic diving, if you look at particular locations around the world, has done very well.
Yeah.
Because people are forced into diving more locally. And it's opened a lot of eyes on what's available on your doorstep.
Absolutely.
I think we're very, very lucky here. Joking aside of getting cold, we are very lucky with the diversity that we've got.
There's some great... my personal favourite is South Australia. It just has a unique combination of stuff down there. It's not the easiest of locations logistically. You've got to get yourself organised and to do it. But once you're in the water, there's some quite unique things to see down there.
Leafy sea dragons.
Yes, leafy.
Have you seen one? I've yet to see one.
Yeah, if you Google it, you'll find my page.
I know.
Google Don Silcock.
I will. I know. I feel like I'm so sorry, Don.
No, they're wonderful creatures, but they're not the easiest. You can be looking at them and not see them.
Wow.
If they're depending where they are, but if they're in the corkweed, as they call it, you can be actually looking at them and not see them. People going pointing, and what's the point at? Yeah.
I had that in Lembe a few years ago. Lembe Strait, it's all macro, and it's super macro. There's tiny, tiny stuff. So my eyes are focused on looking for, grains of sand for a week. And we come on this particular dive site, and the dive guide was, indicating that there's a frogfish, and he's pointing. And I'm looking, I'm thinking, I can't see no bloody frogfish. What's he pointing at? So I question him, and he indicates again and points. No, can't see it, mate. And this is all obviously hand signals underwater. But and then he points out and indicates the area of a dinner plate. And it was a giant frogfish. So I'm looking at its toenail. It was a monster. Absolute monster. Blended in really well, though.
Have you been to Lembe?
No, but I've seen huge frogfish in Philippines.
Lembe it's the critter capital of the world. If you're into critters, for me, it's certainly the best place in Indonesia.
I think Ambon has a little battle with it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd rate Lembe at 9. I would rate Ambon at 8.
Really?
And Bali, about north coast of Bali, right places, about 7.
So I reckon Ambon and Lembe flick-flack, first and second position.
I've got to tell you the story about Lembe. So I spent, I think it was 12 days there on the back end of a trip from Sorong through Halmahera to Lembe. So we went all the way through the top end of Indonesia and then got to Lembe, and we stayed there for 12 days. So the first couple of days we're going out, just me and this mate of mine, we had our own little boat and a guide. And, you're going down there and you're finding all this sort of stuff. They point stuff out to you. On about the day 5, the dive guy said to me, "What would you like to see today?" I thought he was joking. I really thought he was joking. "What would you like to see?" And I said, "Well, I'd like a flamboyant cuttlefish, please." So he said, "Well, just a minute." So he gets on his phone and he starts phoning around. I said, "Okay." I honestly thought he was winding me up.
Yeah.
I thought he was winding me up. So I didn't say anything. Off we went. One particular site, and we go, found it.
Yep.
So there's like this network of guides there, and because they're in the water every day, there's numerous different sites. They know what's there. So the guide said to him, "Well, go down here, turn and you'll find it." And sure enough, down we went, and he found it.
Wow.
So the next day, I'd be like, "Well, I'll have one of these and one of these." But what would you like to see today?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a similar experience in Ambon. That's why I say a battle between the two.
Oh, well.
The boys were just as good in Ambon as they were in Lembe, and I think it's that passion in it. And if there's a group of them that are willing to communicate with each other, everybody wins.
That's the thing in Lembe. There's like this bush network, bush telegraph thing that goes on, and they share information.
Yeah.
And great.
Yeah, I found that in the Philippines. So I did Pascua, where where they've got the thresher sharks.
Yeah.
So I did get to see a thresher shark. Have you ever seen those?
No.
Wow, they're amazing, but they don't like to come very close. So you do end up seeing them from a distance, but still amazing.
It's like you're in the water at 5 o'clock in the morning or something.
You are in the water, and you're at 30 meters, and you're in a 2 mil though, because it's like 30 degrees water. It's amazing, so you don't mind. It's like a bath.
Did you get the early morning wake up with the chucks?
Yes, yeah.
There's a shit ton of them on that island.
There's so many. Yes, yeah.
I got there.
The rooster.
2013, I think, and everyone went to bed at like 8 o'clock at night. The island was.
Did you diving at 5 in the morning?
It was desolate. I'm like, Jesus Christ, who am I meant to have a beer with here? Oh, I wanted to have a whiskey later as well.
Yeah.
But everyone had gone to bed, so just went to bed early.
Yeah, we were doing like 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah, 3:30 in the morning. You got these bloody chucks on the go, roosters, a gazillion of them. I think the world has been, they've dumped their chucks on Malapascua.
Oh, it's such a experience. You didn't see the threshers though?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Although you get a whole bunch of divers that get very overexcited and pole on top of each other and then they just swim away. So that was annoying.
Have they put I heard they put a metal line in so you can't cross over into the
Yeah, they do, but
cleaning
it doesn't
area.
stop some people.
Really?
Yeah, it really doesn't. And that's the same when you see a manta. You see people, you just meant to just go right down to the bottom and just observe and let them come to you. But everyone just seems to chase after them and then they just swim away.
Yeah.
So it's that, yeah. But in Malapascua, that's where I saw my first, what do you call those creatures that can have the little pinchers where they can penetrate? Oh, I've lost for words. Thank you. Mantis shrimp.
Oh, mantis shrimp.
Yeah, you know those mantis shrimps? They're
You mean
amazing.
the dudes that can punch really quick?
They can punch really quick. Yeah, I saw that on a night dive in Malapascua and and then in Cabalao, that was Critter Central. Did you go to Cabalao?
No.
Critter Central, where I saw all the little pygmy seahorses, which you can only see through a camera lens. It's so tiny. They're like millimetres.
You want to try taking a photograph of them?
The most dangerous
Crazy.
creature in the sea. The pygmy seahorse is the most dangerous creature in the sea, in my experience.
Go on.
It is?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because I've got into more deco trouble. I'm serious. They have this incredible ability to know when you're about to press the shutter and they turn away.
Yeah.
So,
right.
With a long lens, with a macro lens, it's like looking through the wrong end of a telescope, trying to find these things, and then you finally find it and you get it in focus and you're just about to capture the front cover of National Geographic and it turns. It's
with a little flick of the hair as
just
well.
like it's gone. And then here you go again. And the next thing, beep, 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 oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's happened to me multiple times in multiple locations.
Yeah.
They're incredibly photogenic.
Yeah.
Love them to pieces, but you can really burn through the time and you get so fixated on trying to capture the image that you forget where you are and you forget about your deco and all the rest of it.
Yeah. They're like hammerheads for me. They usually go down to the deep and I'm usually chasing them. And then your computer's beeping at you.
Yeah.
We've all been there. I was really disappointed, Don. I really wanted to hear that they were poisonous or something, or little ninjas that...
Little underwater ninjas.
No, they're just deadly. Only to underwater photographers.
Oh, so there must be your kryptonite.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Yeah.
Stick with the big stuff, mate. The eyes are getting older as well, so it's easier to go on the big stuff.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a mandarin fish?
Yeah.
Aren't they beautiful?
Fantastic.
They do their little dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do them in Banda?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I have a story.
Well, I bet you do.
So there was myself and this French friend of mine. She's female, but really good, just a good personal friend.
Yeah.
And we did the night dive in Bandanera to do it's late afternoon to do the mandarin fish, and then turns into a night dive. So we finished the dive. We drifted all the way along, and we got out. We walked into the hotel and had a beer.
Yeah.
In all our dive gear. And they didn't blink an eyelid. It's Indonesia. We just sat outside in all our dive gear. So we have two bintang besar, please. Do it.
Did they ask you to remove all the sea urchins from your shins first?
They didn't even blink. It just seemed like kind of normal.
Yeah.
And of course, then we had to pay, and who had some money? Not me. So luckily, somebody was passing who knew us and lent me 100,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I saw them as well.
Oh. Yeah. Do you know, this week has been devastating for me because when COVID hit, I was over in Dallas waiting to go to Galapagos.
Really?
I was en route and they closed the borders when I was in Dallas and I had to turn around and come back to Sydney. So they postponed it to this week. So I've had to witness on social media my dive buddies who I was meeting there to travel with doing Galapagos.
Nice.
So they have seen everything They've seen the hammerheads. They have seen humpback whales, mantas, underwater piranhas. Not piranhas. That's a drink.
Iguana.
Iguanas. See, I'm so mad I can't speak.
Well, the caffeine in that mad tea.
Oh my. So I've never hated and loved people at the same time as much as I've done this week. I'm very envious. It looks amazing, that trip.
It's actually fantastic. And I don't know if I told you, Don, I did have a Galapagos expedition ready for October 2019. And obviously Rona stepped in and screwed it all up. So I cancelled it across to this year. In fact, what year are we in now? Jesus.
21.
21. So 20 was the original
October
date. 21 I moved it back to October 21. And then my old muckers over at Blue O2 said, yeah, well, not sure how this is going for later in the year. And they were good enough to let me put it back again. So as frustrating as it is, I've put it back to July 23, just to make sure, rather than doing it year by year. And everyone's happy that's going on it. However, it did give me the opportunity to have the entire boat again. So I've now got another 4 spots on that one. So 2023, July 2023, in the crossover of the seasons. So hopefully we get everything, including the whale sharks as well.
In October?
No, July.
See, I want to go in March to actually see the schooling hammerheads. Isn't that when they're there?
Yeah, but you can see it in July as well.
You can see it in July?
Yeah. We did, Jazz and I did April, and there's loads of hammerheads.
Yeah.
But, you see it a couple of times and then you start to look around for other stuff. So if you're doing it in the crossover between the seasons, then you've got the chances of everything.
Okay.
And that's why we've gone for the July time.
But what, next year? Have you got anything?
Next year, to be honest, I don't think it's a wise decision to plan an expedition next year. Yes, certain locations are going to be opening up again, but they'll be few and far between and there will be difficulties.
Yeah.
So even my travel company, I've put a curtain over it, and I don't book anything unless it's previous customers and friends. Yeah. And I'll reopen that once it's suitable to do so. But next year, I think it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah, everything I had planned. I had several big trips for this year, all booked and reserved and everything, and all of them have gone back into next year now.
Yeah.
And it starts in late February in Cabo, Mexico. That seems to be operating there. So if I can get there, I think it'll work. But then I've got 2 back-to-back trips in, can't even say it properly, Tubatata.
Where's that?
It's in the Philippines. You can only get there for a couple of months a year.
So it's the Philippine sardine run, effectively.
Yeah. And then stuff in the Americas and South America. I'm doing the southern right whales in Argentina, hopefully.
And that's the problem. It's not the fact that the operators aren't there. It's the getting there. And, that Galapagos trip I mentioned, the difficulty there is that I've got people coming from 7 different countries.
Yeah.
You're not going to guarantee that they're all going to get there.
No.
And from Australia to that side of the world?
Yeah.
Well, Americans can travel.
Yeah, but that's America and South America. They kind of work hand in hand, don't they?
We're very fortunate here that there's almost zero community transmission right now. What is happening seems to be directly related to the quarantine facilities. Seems to be. Yeah. The vaccine rollout is happening, and I think everything is pointing to the fact that we should be able to start travelling next year. I think.
I was going to ask. I'm surprised you've not had it yet. I thought the OAP's got hit first. Right, I think we'll wrap it up, gang. We've been going for well over an hour. And Lisa, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Can I just say, Don, I didn't ask you, and I've asked you this, Matt, but have you seen the documentary about I can't do this. I wanted to end our session with a joke, but I keep laughing at my own jokes. I'm really bad at
It's
telling
something about
jokes. Yes. Have you seen?
Try again.
Okay.
Go on.
Have you seen the documentary about constipation?
No, I haven't.
That's right. It hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
My favourite joke.
Sea Shepherd, this is your representative.
Yeah. And on that note, could I buy a T-shirt, please?
Absolutely.
Gang, it's a trial kind of episode. I hope you've enjoyed it, and maybe we'll see how many. If we get 10 or 12 people listen to it, then maybe we'll do it again next month, eh?
If we never hear it, it was shit.
Guys, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
This is Scuba Goat Under the Sea, the podcast for the inquisitive diver.